Well, several political party representatives commented on the fuel price hike which came into effect from midnight yesterday.
Didn't they make a promise that the price of kerosene will not be increased even though prices are increased? There is a list of promises that have not been honoured. There is no point reading it out. They dealt a blow to the stomachs with diesel and kerosene. How can the people raise their heads? Now the prices will be increased further. They have started to devalue the rupee. The price of petrol, diesel and kerosene was increased by a massive amount for the first time in history. It is the miracle of Asia. Every government usually increases kerosene by a rupee or 2 rupees because kerosene is what the poor use as fuel. Why was it increased? This is not owing to an increase in world market prices. Prices in the world market do not increase at this percentage. The prices of petrol, diesel and kerosene were increased to erase the losses incurred by the corrupt and wasteful economic policies of the government. They are placing the burden on the people to make up for the losses incurred by the government. Saying that the prices were increased because world oil prices increased is a barefaced lie. The government frequently highlights the losses suffered by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The question is, how does the Petroleum Corporation suffer losses? The reason is that the 2011 COPE report states that the government, state institutions and other affiliated institutions are in debt to the Petroleum Corporation to the tune of 85 billion rupees. 85 billion rupees is due to the Petroleum Corporation. A great proportion of it, that is a sum of 55 billion rupees, has to be paid by the Ceylon Electricity Board. The Petroleum Corporation has incurred a loss by not providing fuel at a cheap rate to the people of our country. The Petroleum Corporation has incurred a loss because its resources have been used for wasteful expenses of state institutions.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa today returned to the island after completing his 2-day official visit to Pakistan. A joint statement was issued by the two countries on the occasion of the visit of the Sri Lankan president to Pakistan. Now, according to this release, the two countries had agreed to continue their cooperation at regional and international forums.
The statement further reads that the two countries had agreed to work together in promoting regional cooperation under the SAARC auspices. According to the release, both countries have reached a consensus on their common endeavours for promoting peace and security in the region and the world. The release also states that it was agreed to make special efforts to increase the bilateral trade to over $2 billion by 2015. During the visit, President Rajapaksa had visited the Taxila Museum in the Punjab province in Pakistan. After worshipping the sacred relics placed at the location, the President also worshipped the sapling of the Sri Mahabodhi tree, which was planted in Taxila in 1964. Yet another Bo sapling was planted at the location in memory of President Rajapaksa's visit.
Also in local news, a businessman was abducted yesterday in the Canal Road area in Vallavatta. The police said that the businessman was abducted opposite his house.
A 42-year-old businessman by the name of Ramasamy Prabhaharan was abducted yesterday. Relatives said that Prabhaharan, who is a father of one, was involved in the business of selling electrical items in the Bamlapete area. His wife stated that she had gone with her husband in the vehicle to the Battaramulla area last afternoon, and while returning, her husband was abducted by a group who arrived in a white van.
After buying vegetables from Vihara Lane, he stopped the vehicle at the house. As soon as he stopped the vehicle, suddenly a small white van stopped behind the vehicle. Thereafter, 4 people who were hiding inside grabbed my husband from behind. He held onto the gate when they grabbed him. When they grabbed him, he shouted for help. 2 others got off the van and shoved him inside the van. All of them carried T-56 weapons and pistols. They were in civil attire. When I attempted to save him, they pushed me aside and took off with my husband towards W.A. Silva Mawatha.
මම ගිහලා බේරන්න යනකොට මාව තල්ලු කළා. එයාව ටක් ගාලා වෑන් එකේ දාගෙන කෙලින්ම W සිල්වා මාවත පැත්තට ගියා.
A complaint has been lodged regarding the incident with the Wellawatte police. A wife of the businessman noted that her husband was taken into police custody in 2009 for questioning over another incident.
They took him in for investigations. When he was taken in, he was detained by the CCD for further investigations. Because he was tortured there, he filed an FR case while he was inside against those who hit him. The FR case was to be taken up tomorrow in courts. He had many friends in the army. He was taken into custody for further investigations, also because of a friend in the army.
The police said that those who abducted the businessman had spoken to the businessman's wife via telephone and demanded for 100 million rupees for his release. The Colombo Crimes Division, together with the Wellawatte police, have commenced investigations into the abduction. A correspondent said police protection was granted to the house of the businessman. Meanwhile, an individual disappeared in the Limolawatte area in Maligawatte on the 27th of last month. The individual was identified as 29-year-old Mohammed Azman. His relatives stated that he had arrived in Colombo from Putlam and had then gone to Maligawatte, but there has been no news from him thereafter. He called at around 7:30 in the morning saying that he will come to Colombo from Putlam. He didn't call after that. Then our mother called and said that there is no news of Azman and that she doesn't know where he is. She asked me to look for him. I looked for him at the police. I even went to the Mirihana police, but he was not there. I don't know where my brother is. We have made entries in all the police stations. Even the Maligawatte police came and made inquiries. We need to know where our brother is. We need to know whether he is there or not, but the police is saying nothing. The wife of Azman lodged a complaint with the Maligawatte police on the 31st of last month regarding her husband's disappearance.
The police have commenced investigations into an incident where the officer in charge of the Inginiagala police station had assaulted a youth from the area.
The family of the youth say that the alleged assault took place while the youth had been engaged in licensed sand mining. The youth's family charged that the OIC and another individual who had arrived at the location had assaulted the youth. The alleged victim in this assault is 22-year-old KP Gunasiri.
Yesterday, when my son had gone to mine sand, the OIC had come to the location and grabbed my son and put him on the ground. He had attacked the back of his head with a pistol and also hit his ears. Then he had taken him to hospital and obtained treatment, saying that it's minor injuries, and had placed him in jail. Later, when I went to bail him out, they said that they cannot do it. My son's condition worsened at around 10:30-11. He started crying because he was in pain. I yelled at them to allow to take him to a doctor. They did not allow me to do so. When his condition got worse, they allowed me to take him.
Our reporter stated that the youth who had been admitted to the Inginiagala hospital had later been transferred to the Ampara hospital due to his poor health condition. When we made inquiries, the police stated that an investigation had commenced into the assault allegedly carried out by the OIC of the Inginiagala police station.
4 police officers attached to the Putlam and Maravilla police stations have been suspended. They have been charged with acts of indiscipline.
2 constables attached to the Putlam police station were suspended as they were found to be possessing more than the required sum of money when they had left on duty. A sergeant and a constable of the Maravilla police were suspended due to participating in duties which were not relevant to them. The police said the 4 officers were suspended following disciplinary inquiries conducted by the superintendents of police in Putlam and Maravilla. Meanwhile, 17 officers in charge or OICs of police stations have received transfers effective immediately. Police headquarters said that the measure was taken by the Inspector General of Police due to service needs. The OICs of the Piliandala, Vavunia, Nikavaratia, Akiraipattu, Kalmunai, Kuliapitiya, Ambilipitiya, Deniyaya, Gojakawela, Velavidya, Gotatua, Talangama, Maravilla and Blumandal police stations have been thus transferred.
Minister of Public Coordination and Public Affairs Mervyn Silva arrived at the Nuara Khalaviya Paravahagama village yesterday. The minister arrived at the village with the intention of inquiring into the memorial constructed in the village for the freedom fighter Kappedipula Nilame.
Considered one of the main fighters in the freedom struggle of 1818, Veera Kappiripola Nilame was captured by the British at this location. As a mark of respect to the great freedom fighter, the Ministry of Tourism of the North Central Province constructed this memorial several years ago. News First's Lakmal Kirindigala revealed the significance of this memorial and the village to the entire nation on a special segment on News First titled Salute to a Proud Nation. The Sirasa Media Network arrived here and created awareness amongst the area residents. I think Minister Mervyn Silva arrived here today after the revelation that was made through the media. I believe that this should be conserved and it should also be brought to the attention of the responsible authorities. Minister Mervyn Silva promised to erect a security fence in the area where the Kappiripola Memorial is located and to provide electricity as well as to construct a place for offerings to be made. They said that this memorial is here. I met the President about 3 days ago. When I told him about it, he said, Mervyn, look into it immediately. We did not delay.
Tomorrow is too late.
I thought this needs to be done. We are starting this on the 22nd of February. I thought we would start on this day because I got married on the 22nd of February. I always forget that date. My wife asked me on the 23rd, don't you remember that we got married on the 22nd? I feel like we got married yesterday. The minister also joined the gathering of area residents in song. Parents of students at the Karagaskada Vidyalaya in Pahata Hewahata organised this all-night Pirit ceremony and gave alms to the Mahasangha due to their happiness at Central Province Education Authorities finally turning their attention towards this school. Although this school was included in the Navodaya Schools program, which is implemented on a proposal made by the World Bank in 2000, and then again in the Isuru Schools program, at the last minute in both instances, the school was withdrawn from these programs. This school was number 84 in the list of schools selected from the Kandy district for the secondary schools program, which is the newest phase of the World Bank's proposals. On the 30th of January, the parents of the more than 750 children at this school, through Action TV, spoke of the justice their children should receive regardless of whether the school was included in the secondary schools program or not. Rather than send our children to school and leave them despondent, it is better for us to keep them at home and look after them ourselves. The reason for this situation to arise was that the Central Province Education Authorities had failed to appoint even one person to make up for 19 teachers who left the school last year. Parents felt that the Central Province Education Authorities may be giving some sort of attention to this school when measures were taken to fill the vacancy of principal on the 1st of this month. Against the backdrop where 18 vacancies are still to be filled, a government public representative in the area was also invited to the Pirit ceremony, which was held on Friday.
සිරස විමර්ශනය අංශය තුලින් අද කරගස්කඩ විද්‍යාලයේ තියෙන තත්ත්වය රටට කියලා තියෙනවා.
Through Sirasa Action TV, the situation at the Karagaskada Vidyalaya has been brought to the attention of the country and we are proud of that. We have seen the wrongs being committed by officials. If the media exposes this, then it creates the environment we need to build. Criticism and inquiry is needed for a strong journey. They will tell us our shortcomings and we must correct ourselves accordingly. Whether we are politicians or people in office, we must understand this.
අපි යනවා නිවැරදි මිනිස්සු වෙන්න ඕන. අපි දේශපාලකයෝ වුණත්, තනතුරු දරන අය වුණත් මෙන්න මේක හොඳට තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන.
While the good concept presented by the representative is a cause for the uplifting of this school, it also strengthens the fight undertaken by a government councillor of the provincial council against the policy being followed by the authorities in charge of education of protecting the corrupt.